So they need a touchdown.
All right. 3rd and 5.
At the backfield as they have so often here
Last
tonight.
play of the game. 2 seconds left. Empty, set. Tyrod taking the snap.
With Robinson and Slate.
See what we got.
Here's the game.
Steps up.
Taylor.
Throws it over the middle. Oh, flag! Let's go! Yes. Let's go. Don't do the stupid run like they did before.
Pass interference. Defense, number 43. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball was spotted at the 1 yard line. Automatic first down.
Now a run play is an option.
Now
No, you did the run play earlier. Don't do a run play again. Come on, we just did that right before halftime. You gotta roll out, roll out, roll out. Chuck it.
Taylor over the top.
Another one. Another one. Throw the flag. That's another flag. That's another flag. I mean, let's see a replay. That's another flag. What is going on, you guys? Let's dive into the highlights here from tonight's loss where the Giants lost 14-9 to the Bills. Another game where the Giants weren't able to find the end zone from an offensive touchdown perspective. But let's just talk through everything as it goes. I think Saquon really started going in the second half of this game. I think up until when he really started getting it going, he was 18 for 36 or something, very low yards per average carry. And then, I think the Giants defense did a really good job of containing the Bills. I think two guys in particular that did amazing in this game was Bobby Okereke, right there, as you could see there, punching the ball out, and then Micah McFadden also did a great job too. Those were two guys that I think had their best games as Giants so far. Giants offensive line super banged up again, and that's why Tyrod Taylor had to start tonight, just due to all the injuries. But Tyrod did a really good job of putting the ball, throwing really nice, clean passes, dropping it in right where Slayton is particularly well at catching those over the ball, over the shoulder catches when he has space downfield. But the Giants' offensive line for as reshuffled as it was, you see Pugh finally had his debut, and he actually was getting a lot of compliments. Then Ezeudu got hurt, and then Pugh moved to left tackle and kind of got smoked a little bit. It was really asking a very, very tough task for Pugh to be able to come into that role and start playing left tackle after not playing pretty much for almost a year. So kudos to Pugh for coming back and stepping it up, and God knows we needed it. But here we are, 13 minutes in the second remaining, and Giants starting to run the ball a lot here. Saquon did do a pretty good job of getting it going once they did for the makeshift offensive line, but and then that opens up all this other stuff like play action, getting Tyrod moving. No real straight dropbacks from Tyrod in this game pretty much at all. So they're just trying to be creative and making the offense work for what they have. And Waller played pretty well. I think, the plays at the end of the game too, even the final play, I think was definitely pass interference. I wonder if they'll show it in the highlights. As this video, I'm pretty sure it's Giants.com. So I really haven't even shown anything from the Bills yet. Not that they did too much. Hey, another great guy who had a great defensive game from the Giants was rookie corner Deonte Banks. He played really well going against Stephon Diggs, who's a premier top tier wide receiver in this league, and I'm pretty proud of what he was able to do so far. And then Allen throws these balls so hard, and you're seeing 5'8" just constantly making plays, 41 getting his paws on it as well, and that's what the Giants needed to do a little bit, and that's why you saw the Jets beat the Eagles today, was because they did such a good job in the turnover battle. So the Giants kind of back-to-back games, even though they ended up getting smoked by the Dolphins, they were still able to force some turnovers there. So good to see that's going a little bit, and that's all you need to do, right? You don't have to be in the best position in the world, but if you could just get your paw on it, that's all you really need. Jalen Hyatt getting a little bit more involved in this game. They took a shot with him really late in the fourth quarter where I think it was the 4th and 8. Taylor kind of chucked it up, but you could see, just trying to get to him. And then here we go here. Let's just go back to this one because we talk about how much of a problem the Giants offensive line is. And then here we go. Tyrod, pretty clean pocket, right over the shoulder, kind of similar to what we saw before, and just lays it right in there with a minute 21 left. This whole sequence of events coming up here was pretty messed up. Like, I'll just talk about it right now because you get up there and then, you call your timeout. Dable managed the clock really poorly there too, instead of taking the timeout earlier and allowing us to be like, okay, now you have 3 shots at the end zone. Like, we aren't. And then he was yelling at Tyrod before it went to when they're walking up the field to go to halftime, because Tyrod just checked. Maybe in the other version, the longer version, they showed like the last play, but just for the sake of it, you can see when they show like the little overhead view of the camera that they weren't too many D linemen like in a traditional sort of goal line position. There were a couple linebackers back, and maybe that was by design. Like, the Bills wanted to be like, we dare you to try and run on us. We're going to fill it up as quickly as possible. And I think that's what Tyrod saw, obviously, because he adjusted and audible to the run. But I think that is even more on the Giants coaching staff for even putting him in that position. If you're in shotgun, you're not going to have those draws, or at least it's a little bit more spread out. But there could have been that conversation prior to that play being like, we're going to go shotgun and we're going to take as many shots at the end zone as possible. Maybe 1 quick slant, 2 back shoulder fade, and then whatever. As long as we don't take a sack, that's what we also can't do on this. We're going to kick the field goal, and then we're going to be up 9-0, getting the ball back to start the second half. And none of that happened. So that's on the coaching, I think, more than the players, to be completely honest with you. And when you're coming off the Coach of the Year award and you're 1-4 and you're doing dumb shit, allowing your players to make mistakes, that's on you more than anyone else. So the Giants don't do anything when they get the ball, punting, and I think around this point, so yeah, that's when the Bills had a crazy drive. It's like, whatever. And then I think there was a fight at one point too. So then the Bills go in, score, Giants get the ball back, and then this is when you saw Saquon come alive a little bit. Collinsworth did a good job of highlighting what the Giants were trying to do here by bringing the left guard and kicking out with the trap. Also interesting to see here because you get Hyatt kind of going out here and he's getting someone to come run with him a little bit just for that sort of maybe like RPO sort of fake. But yeah, I think what Saquon kind of also did, obviously these holes looked a lot better to start the second half, but when Saquon just puts his foot into the ground and just sprints upfield as fast as he can, I think he really tends to have a lot of success there. It's when, and I don't think maybe I'm over blaming him a little bit for this, but when he does the dancing in the backfield too much, that acts like he's trying to like return a punt and he's getting like smoked all the time. It's just good to see him plant his foot, run upfield as fast as he can, get to the second level because he can beat these linebackers when he gets there. Wow, so this is, I think, from the Giants website. They're really not going to show anything here at the end. Okay, let's bring it back. I had to find the other highlights here, but anyway, 3rd and 2, Giants going down the field, quick out route to Saquon. You have 1 timeout left. The Bills have 2. 3rd and 1 going in right over the middle to Waller. Giants gotta get on the ball here, spike it. 2nd and 10. Really good pocket again for the most part. Pugh looks a little beat there, but this is a point in the game where the Bills are really gonna pin their ears back and start coming because, as they also mentioned during the broadcast, the Bills have one of the best attacking pass rushing defense. And the Giants have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And they held up here for the most part. Would have liked to see us get a little bit more downfield. There you go, 4th and 5. Tyrod stepping up, chucking it. Great play by Hyatt. But then you got to get on the ball. Spike. 2nd and 10. 9 seconds left. This is, I'm pretty sure, Tyrod step. And then, really ballsy play by Tyrod that he's able to scramble for like the 6-ish yards there. And have 2 seconds remaining on the clock. So you got an empty formation here. Saquon at the bottom. And just going right over the middle of the field for the play, for pass interference. Just pretty blatant. I'm glad they called it. And then the next one's just as blatant too, which they don't call. But I think overall, when you put the game in the ref's hands, they give you that call. They're not as, and this is a quick one because you're already getting hit, but maybe they're just not as apt for giving you that call here. But I think, the refs obviously blew this call. This was definitely, I mean, he's all over him, grabbing him. If it's pass interference earlier in the game, it should be pass interference now. But I think the Giants really hurt themselves by not kicking that field goal or putting themselves in the position to kick that field goal before half, which was a coaching problem. Because if you do that, it's 14-12. Right here, you could kick a field goal for the win. Not to say that it would, there was just way too much time. So it's tough to say like, oh, if you did that right before halftime, there was still a second half, that would have came down in this exact moment where we would win 15-14. It's just impossible to really make that, accusation. But I think, what you're seeing here is that the Giants also are not good enough to win. Their defense really did have a great performance tonight. Okereke was great. McFadden was great. Always loved the tenacity from Big Sexy Dexy. Deonte Banks had a great game too versus playing an elite tier Stephon Diggs. So I'm hoping the defense can build on that a little bit more moving forward, because the first, really 5 games were about the defense getting decimated. Maybe they could get a little bit more confidence moving ahead to not necessarily an easier part of the schedule, but much more winnable games versus not as highly powered offense that you saw where the Giants contained the Bills a lot tonight, but last weekend getting run over by the Dolphins. So I think coming up, you're seeing the Commanders, who had a big win today over the Falcons. And then after that, you have the Jets, where both of those teams aren't really putting up crazy sort of stats like the other teams were. So I'd love to see the defense continue to roll along there. I think the Giants offense just has to figure it out, because now you haven't scored a touchdown offensively since the third quarter of the 49ers game, which was Matt Breida scoring in that game. So yeah, and here's the replay here at the end to end it. But again, the Giants just aren't good enough to win, because other teams will just figure out a way to make this work. Pass interference, but even if you get the call, who knows if you even score again. So, or if, I guess all you want is an opportunity, but Giants aren't even good enough to get that anymore. So thanks for watching.